Hello, welcome back for part 3 of my birth chart basics class. Today we're going to be going over the IC. So this is just a rough example of a birth chart. The MC is at the top, the IC is at the bottom. It's actually Latin for lowest part of the sky, and it expresses your most deepest intimate life that's most private and can also indicate things about your childhood. So most of the time, using the whole sign system, your IC is going to fall in the 4th house, but it can also fall in the 3rd and 5th house. I guess it can also fall in the 2nd and 6th house too, I guess, but that's very rare. I'm just going to be going over the 4th, 3rd, and 5th houses in this video. But the 4th house is ruled by Cancer. It rules the home, family, childhood, and what makes you feel nurtured. You can tell a lot more about what your childhood was like or what you need to feel nurtured by looking at the sign on your 4th house, as well as considering any planets there. For example, those with a Libra rising born between 2008 and 2023 may have Pluto in Capricorn in the 4th house. This could imply a chaotic and transformative childhood with an important role being played by the father. Neptune in the 4th house can imply a childhood that didn't have a lot of boundaries and importance was placed on creativity and spirituality. Saturn, on the other hand, can imply a rigid childhood with lots of structure and responsibilities. And Jupiter here can imply a happy, fortunate childhood with a lot of joy and luck. Now we're going to quickly go over the 3rd and 5th house. The 3rd house is ruled by Gemini and has to do with communication, short trips, social events, and activities. If your IC falls here, communication is important to you and is what makes you feel most nurtured. This also implies that your midheaven falls in the 9th house, so communication and learning are a huge part of your destiny. You may enjoy reading and pursuing higher education and wisdom. You love sharing the information you learn with those close to you. The 5th house is ruled by Leo and has to do with creativity, pleasure, and fun. This is a fortunate placement because it can imply a great childhood where play and creativity were important themes. Since your midheaven falls in the 11th house, you have a strong foundation and a lot to give to your friends and followers. So we're going to look back at the same charts we looked at in the previous video. This person has a lot of action in their 10th house. It's where their MC falls, and they are very career oriented. But as you can see, their IC falls in the 4th house in Aquarius with the moon there. This implies that a huge part of their priority is on their family, and it's where they feel the most safe and nurtured. This is true for this person because even when they would have to travel for work, they would do whatever it takes to get home as soon as they possibly can because their safe place is with their family. And having the 4th house in IC ruled by Aquarius implies that they need to have an unconventional environment in their home. And she was the breadwinner where the husband stayed home with the kids. And this was in the 90s where that was just not socially acceptable. And Aquarius is all about getting rid of old structures and traditions that are outdated and ushering in a new movement of doing things in a kind of rebellious way. And that's exactly what she did with her family. Here is my chart again. No, this isn't my chart. This is my friend's chart. Her MC is in Aquarius and her IC is in Leo. I know for a fact that communication is so important to her. She does not like secrets. She's very upfront and she hates when other people aren't straightforward. She has her moon conjunct Jupiter, which is very fortunate, but I know she had a hard life and now things are starting to get better for her. And I think that's because she has Saturn in the 9th house and it's opposing her Jupiter and moon. So aspects change a lot about the chart. You can see this is a red line, meaning it is a more challenging aspect and it brings a lot of harsh energy into this area of life that is very private. and where she's supposed to feel nurtured. So I can imagine that that played a huge effect in her childhood and kind of was a downer on this awesome Jupiter Moon conjunction in Leo. But we'll go more into aspects at a later day. Where is it? This is my chart. So, my chart, I have the MC in the 11th house, and I have the IC in Aries in the 5th house. So, I had a really great childhood. It was awesome. The first chart we looked at is my mom, and she was the breadwinner, and I stayed home with my dad. My dad raised us, and we just had an awesome time growing up. And I also am very independent and strong willed, and that comes from my IC being in Aries. And since my MC is in Libra, a huge part of my destiny is relationships and influencing people. But as you can see, I have Saturn in the 4th house, and if my IC had fallen in the 4th house, that would have been probably a pretty negative impact on my childhood. But thank God I don't have my IC there. And that is all for this video. I'll see you next time for part 4.